in this day and age, if you keep on doing what you've always done, you're going to lose everything you have.
Welcome to Game Changer, where you get the inside track to win in a decade of disruption. So be sure to subscribe and let's crush this business unusual game together. Our guest today is Andy Jacob. He's the founder and CEO of the Jacob Group and an award-winning business innovator and sales visionary who's helped revolutionize many businesses. His own companies have produced thousands of jobs, helped thousands of people, and made hundreds of millions in revenue. Andy guarantees results and has been lauded by CEOs and founders throughout America. Andy, it's an absolute privilege to have you on the show. Welcome.
Carmen, I love it so much. Thanks for having me on the show. You started the show by saying, let's crush it. And I love that so much for entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for having me on the Game Changer show. It's really an honor. Well,
Andy, you say crush it. You are all about crushing it and game changing. So we're going to have a really cool hour together. I had a look at your website and your testimonials read like a movie, like fast and flawless, powerhouse sales trainer, immediate sales impact. This one I loved. Pray he's not doing a 1-hour strategy power session with your competition. What's your personal game changer approach or quality that's getting these results, Andy?
Well, Carmen, you know, small to medium-sized businesses, they're really the heartbeat of the world. They really are the entrepreneurs and the founders and the CEOs that really make the world change. And if you have less than 500 employees, I consider you a small to mid-sized business. And these businesses really have great founders and entrepreneurs that lead their companies. They lead from the top. And those founders and CEOs, they can't do everything. They can't know everything. They need to surround themselves with the best of the best. They need to surround themselves with a great board of advisors or a great board of directors or mentors, if you will. Because every great entrepreneur, Carmen, as you know, really can't do it all. They can't have the highest level of knowledge and background and experience in every facet of a business. So it's important for those people, for those CEOs and founders to reach out to people that can bring something to their company that they don't have themselves. And that's what I really do is I help companies find things in their business that are not apparent to the CEO and the founder so that they can take a massive action step and do something that's going to make their company great that maybe before speaking to me, they can't see. And that's the way we look at it. If I may, I call it the medicine cabinet principle, Carmen. And what that means is, you know, if I have a splitting headache, Carmen, I go to my medicine cabinet, I open it up, I look at the medicine cabinet, I don't see my aspirin. So I say, honey, where's my aspirin? I ask my wife, of course, you know, she's the boss. And she'll say, Andy, it's in the medicine cabinet. So I open up the medicine cabinet a second time and I look at, and I don't see the aspirin again. I say, honey, where is the aspirin? I have a splitting headache. Please help me out. And she comes over to the medicine cabinet. She opens it up and right in the middle of the medicine cabinet is the aspirin. And she saw it, but why didn't I see it? And the reason why I didn't see it, Carmen, is because I'm too close. I was too close to the medicine cabinet. I was so right in front of my face. The aspirin was right in front of my face. I couldn't see it. It took somebody from the outside to see it for me. And that's the same thing in business. Oftentimes, things in business for entrepreneurs, for CEOs and founders, they're so close to the business that they don't see some apparent things that someone, an outsider like me, might be able to see for them and provide them something very, very important, very, very quickly, like the aspirin for my headache to relieve their problem in their business. So I call it the medicine cabinet principle. I come into companies, I find things very quickly for companies to fix. I can see them very quickly based on my background and experience. The founder and the CEO can't see them because of the medicine cabinet principle. I get in, I get out. They're able to make a massive impact in their business and change the dynamic of their business instantaneously.
So something between a business pharmacist and a business optometrist.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We see it, we prescribe it, we get out, and the headache goes away and the business keeps moving forward in a very powerful way.
That's for sure from the kind of results that you're getting. So let's go a bit further back. What led you to being a sales master? So I mean, you're the sales master, but you're also this business. You've got a really incredible take on business, and we'll come to that. Was there an event, a person, a breakthrough that led you to this place, or were you just, do you have a knack for business and sales from a young age?
You know, I started my first business when I was 11 years old with a paper route. And I lived in Michigan, which is very cold, and we also have winter. So of course I did snow shoveling in the winter time, and then I did a car waxing business in the summertime. So I started businesses very, very young. And what I learned very young is that if you can provide a great service, even when I shoveled snow when I was 11 years old, if I could get all the snow off of the sidewalk, then my customer or the homeowner loved what I did and they invited me back time and time again. The same thing with my car waxing business. If I did a good job waxing their cars and their cars looked great, then they would invite me back every month to wax their car. So I learned early on that the real key to business, Carmen, is to do a great job for your customers. You have to be customer centric. You have to put the customer at the center of everything that you do. And if you do that, that's the recipe for having a great business. So I didn't really have a knack for it. It didn't come naturally, but I just figured out very early on that the better job that I did for my customers, the better they would reward me. And as I moved toward my entrepreneurial journey and moved into my entrepreneurial journey, I saw that there were a lot of companies that didn't really care very much about their customers. Whenever you would talk to a CEO or a founder, the last thing they would talk about is the customer. And that always surprised me because the customer is the most important thing that you have. It's your most important asset, whether you're a technology company or a B2B company or a B2C company or any type of company. Your customer is the most important thing you have. It's not your technology. It's how your customer reacts to the service that you provide them or the product that you provide them. So if you can provide a world-class service and get focused in on the customer's experience, that's a recipe to win.
For sure. I'm very curious. So if you're 11 and you've started your own business already, why were you not playing? What inspired you to get into business so early?
Well, I played as well. I played a lot, probably way too much for my parents' sake. You know, when I was in school, you know, I really wasn't paying much attention to school very much. And I was outdoors. I was, you know, running through the fields and playing Army. You know, back in the day, we played this game called Army, and I was in the forest and we were having a great time on our bicycles and running around the neighborhood. And I probably spent more time playing and working, even as a young boy, than studying in school. And much to my parents' chagrin, but I did learn a valuable lesson. And the valuable lesson was that, again, there were so many things that I tried that didn't work as well. There were many businesses that I tried along the way that didn't work, and I skinned my knees and I rubbed my elbows and have blood all over myself from just being thrashed by the process of trying to own and operate and run a business that didn't work. So there's so much to learn about not having a business that works as well, that I've been able to garner that experience along the way. So yes, I've had many successful businesses, many successes that I'm very, very happy and proud of, Carmen. But of course, I've had my share of failures, and each one of those failures helps you to build for the next business that you're going to build to become even better than the business before. So it was a great experience. I really loved it very much. And we did a lot of playing, a lot of working, not much studying along the way, but I think it paid off pretty well.
I'd say. So, and it's also given you a very different way of thinking about business, which is what I'd like to get into. It's for you, most companies that simply want to grow or double their business are heading for extinction. Maybe I should repeat that. Most businesses that simply want to grow or double their business are heading for extinction and may not even know it. So you look at growth very differently. You call it the 10x paradox. Tell us about this, Andy.
Well, Carmen, there's an old saying that if you keep on doing what you've always done, you're going to keep on getting what you've always got. However, in this day and age, if you keep on doing what you've always done, you're going to lose everything you have. And the reason why is technology is moving so quickly that what happens to businesses quite often is they rest on their laurels. And when you rest on your laurels, in the old days, you would continue to have your business, you would continue to have your customers, you would continue to have a nice little business that would continue on for many, many years. But because technology is moving so quickly, if you keep on doing what you've always done, somebody's going to come up behind you and really take what's yours. So you're going to lose everything unless you continue to improve. So when we talk to companies, we don't talk to companies about doubling their business because we think that's aiming too low. We talk to businesses about 10xing their business. Let's talk about getting your business on path for giant growth, for massive growth. What can we do with your business that will get you to 10x it, 10 times the business you're doing today versus 2 times your business? And the reason we shoot for 10x, because even if we miss the mark a little bit and we only multiply it by 5x, that's a great way for a company
Yes.
to improve by doing 5 times the amount of business that they're currently doing.
Really nice, different way of looking at it. And what is it like? Shoot for the stars, and if you miss, you might land. What was that saying? Shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you may land amongst the stars. Something like that.
I love it, Carmen. Yeah, you shoot as high as you possibly can, and you look for ways in a business to put a company on track for that 10x growth. And you have to be forward thinking. You can't be backwards thinking. Of course, you want to learn from your past experience, take that past experience and put it into play, if you will, for what you want to do in the future. But start thinking about how you can build your business dramatically, how you can provide massive impact, how you can provide a massive experience to the most amount of customers so that they come back time and time again to provide you their hard-earned money for your product or service. So we want to think about massive growth, 10x growth, and even if we miss it by a little bit, it's still amazing growth for the entrepreneurs that we work with.
I know every company is completely different. Have you found, though, that massive growth generally lies in a certain direction?
So let's talk about it, because companies really, again, it always goes back to being customer centric. So if you've built your minimal viable product, you have a service or a product that works for your customers, and your customers are raving fans about what you do, Carmen, then of course, massive growth might be, how do you get to more people? How do you get your offering into a platform that makes it easier for your customers to get what you're providing? And we talk about that a lot, because oftentimes after the minimal viable product is done by a company, which means that they've proved out their model, their customers are liking it, they've got some basic things that they're providing that the customers not only like, but they love, then how do you pour gasoline on that? You know, in America, we have a show called Shark Tank. And on Shark Tank, they oftentimes talk about pouring gasoline on a flame or on a company that has a nice flame to really make it explode in a positive, powerful way. And that's what we talk about. We talk about what type of gasoline, if you will, is necessary to pour onto your company to make it explode in a powerful way, a good way, not exploding in a bad way, but in a good way, so that more and more customers come, more and more people love their offering, more and more people are talking about the offering, telling their friends, relatives, and coworkers about the offering so that the company can experience this massive growth, which is what all entrepreneurs are aiming for.
So you finding a way to add more gas and to explode it, yet you've also got this thing where you say there's a secret to doing less selling and closing more. So I like that. Tell me about that.
Well, you know, in the old days, there were so many books about sales and so many secrets of sales and things that people could do to get their customer to buy from them, you know, psychological approaches to getting people to buy. And you know, all the books were written from the super salespeople and, you know, super salespeople in the 1950s and 60s and 70s. Sales is totally different now. Sales is what I call a loving. You have to really love not only what you're offering, but in a certain way, you have to love your customers enough to be able to provide them something that's going to help them in their life, for them and their family. So sales is a totally different game right now. Sales is about providing incredible value to your customer. And of course, when we think about incredible value, the first top of mind company that comes to mind right now, because they've been able to provide simplicity of ordering and delivering to the customer, is Amazon. So Amazon is really everyone's competitor, because you want to think about what Amazon does and how they've been able to do it so effectively, and think about what your business looks like as compared. And what I mean by that is, you know, I order everything on Amazon. I mean, my companies order everything on Amazon because it's just so simple. You go to your phone or your app, you press a couple buttons, and the next day, you know, your delivery comes, and the prices are better than what I can get if I walk into a store. So why wouldn't I do business with Amazon? So Amazon has solved a very big problem. The problem is that people don't want to wait for things, and they want the best deal. So they've solved everything. So when we think about simplicity for your business, think about how Amazon was able to make their offering so simple for their customers to become one of the biggest, if not the biggest company in the world. And think about what you can do to simplify things in your sales cycle for your customers to make their experience with your business even that much better. So simplify your process, simplify the steps that it takes for your customers to get your product or service. Make everything streamlined. And if you can make things simpler and easier for your customers, they're going to reward you with not only more business, but talking about your service or offering to many more people, which will give referral business to you and really take your business to the next level.
So blow up the complexity.
Yes. So that's exactly right, Carmen. So sometimes it's just so complex. Sometimes when I interact with a company, they have me go through hoops, and there's so many things that they want me to do, and it's complicated, and they send me a long list of instructions, and they send me 15 things that I have to do to get to the end game, and 5 steps to get my thing that I want. And they make the checkout so hard, and you know, they're asking me for multiple passwords, and it's just too complex. The more you can simplify the process for your customers, the better they will reward you. And we talk about that with companies. We talk about the fact that their shopping experience is too complicated. Maybe their shopping experience has too many steps. Maybe they're not listening to their customers. Maybe their offering is so good that their customers put up with the number of steps that they make the customers go through. But imagine how much better it would be if they eliminated some of the steps and just made it streamlined for the customers. I love my Apple Pay. Okay. Apple Pay, again, has made something very, very simple. I go into a store, I have my cell phone, I press two buttons with my thumb twice. I take my phone, I put it down on the scanner, beep, and I'm done. I walk out the door, I get the receipt emailed to me or texted to me any way I want it, or no receipt, and I'm done. Imagine how much easier that is now for me. Well, it's a lot easier and I love it. But guess what? Apple figured that out. Apple figured out how to streamline something. They figured out how to streamline the payment methodology. Prior, I would pull out $50 or $20 from my pocket, hand it to the cashier. They'd give me the change back. I'd have all the change jingling in my pocket. I'd have to take the dollars and put it in my wallet. And I have to get a paper receipt. Now all I do is just press two buttons. So companies need to think about Apple Pay, what they've done. Think about Amazon, what they've done. Even if you're a small businessman or woman, let's say you have a plumbing business, or let's say you have electronic business, or you have a business a lawnmower business. What can you do to make it simpler for your customers? For example, do you have a long process for invoicing? Do you have a long paper trail of invoicing? Can you do some things to just make it so simple for your customer that they just say, wow, I love doing business with that company, because not only did they provide me the superior service or product that I both expected and deserved, but they made it so simple. And that's really where it's all going. The companies that are able to simplify, the companies that are able to love their customers in a meaningful way. And when I say love the customers, what I mean, Carmen, quite simply is you value their time. You value your time as well. So why wouldn't you do everything that you possibly can to honor your customers' time? And that's something that you should think about all the time, how you can gain more time for your customers so that they don't have to go through the multitude of processes to do business with you. And that's one of the things that we talk about quite a bit with the consulting that we do.
Good stuff, really good stuff. I saw something where you said, I think it's one of the talks you do, how a man on a chairlift taught you everything you need to know about closing the deal. Tell us what this man on a chairlift taught you.
Well, Carmen, thank you so much for asking that. This story is not politically correct, but it is a great story to talk about. So many years ago, my wife and I went on a ski trip, and going up to the top of the mountain, there's a gondola that we took, and the gondola has room for 4 people. So my wife and I went into the gondola, and the next 2 people in line went on the gondola with us. And one of the people was a very well put together, attractive young lady, and the other was a gentleman that was a little disheveled, had snow all over his face, had icicles hanging off his beard. They looked like a mismatch. They didn't know each other, but they were just the next 2 people in line. So it's a 12-minute gondola ride. And as we were going up the gondola, Carmen, the gentleman started asking the woman questions. And the woman really didn't want to have anything to do with the guy at all, but she was polite and started asking the questions. And I heard this interaction going on right across from me, because it's a very enclosed gondola. And he started asking more and more questions. And the young lady started answering the questions more in a more, I'd say, encouraging way as the gondola trip continued to go up the hill. And he asked many questions, and I could see, because he was asking questions and taking an interest in her, she began taking an interest in him. And after the 12-minute gondola ride went up to the top of the mountain, the gondola left off, my wife and I got off the gondola, and this gentleman and this young lady, they were departing. And the gentleman said, "Oh, I see you like taking the intermediate runs. You're going down the green intermediate run." And she said, "Yes, I am. And have a nice day. It was nice talking to you on the gondola." And he said, "Do you mind if I take one run with you? Because I love intermediate green runs." And she, of course, said yes. So off they went, two total strangers. She started off very, very offish to the gentleman. But the gentleman, because he asked a number of questions and was asking pertinent questions that were of interest to her, getting to know her, responded like kind. So I said to my wife, Carmen, I said, "You just saw one of the greatest salesmen in the world," because he came on the gondola ride, and the woman really wanted nothing to do with him. But because he asked a lot of questions that were interesting to her, he got her attention because he was paying attention to her. And they went off, obviously, down the hill, and they took their green intermediate ski slope ride together. Well, the story gets a little bit better, Carmen, because 2 nights later, I took my wife to a beautiful romantic restaurant. It was our anniversary, and I looked across the room, and in a candlelit dinner with white tablecloths, the gentleman that was on the gondola ride was holding the hands of the same girl that was on the gondola ride. And obviously it had evolved from the point of him getting on the gondola and the woman wanting nothing to do with him. And what I learned from that, obviously, besides it was just wonderful to see, because it's always wonderful to fall in love and meet someone that you get along with, was, questions are very important. And asking the right questions are important, not only in your personal life, but in your business life as well. And it's very important as a business owner and a business person, Carmen, to ask questions to your customers. Find out what they want, find out what they need, ask them the who, what, where, and why questions about what you're doing for them, and get feedback from your customers. Don't only lean on your staff. Don't only lean on your board of advisors. Don't only lean on your consultants or board of directors. Reach out to your customers and find out what they want, because the more questions you ask, the more engaged they become, and the more answers you get that will help you provide them the types of superior service and products that you want to always provide your customers. So it's a great story. Yes. Congratulations to the couple. If you're watching the show, I was there at the beginning of it in the gondola ride when the young lady that was on the gondola wanted absolutely nothing to do with the young man, but maybe they ended up married and have children, and I wish them the best, and I hope they ended up having a beautiful life together.
Well, cheers to them and to you for telling such a good story.
Thank you, Carmen.
So, and it's time for your whiz bomb. We'd love you to share a powerful success insight that would be of value to our audience. What would that be?
I love it. I love it so much. Well, listen, everybody along their entrepreneurial journey has challenges. If you don't have potholes in the road, and you don't have mountains to climb, and you don't stumble and skin your knees, you're just not pushing hard enough. So if you're watching the show and you own a company, or thinking about a startup, or thinking about, moving in that direction, and everything is smooth sailing for you, then I've got some bad news for you. You're probably not pushing hard enough. So you don't want to have problems on purpose, but if you're pushing hard as an entrepreneur, Carmen, you're going to have potholes in the road. There's going to be things that are going to come up, and you're going to say to yourself, whoa, you might even freak out a little bit, like you weren't ready for that pothole or that challenge. But I want to let you know, as an entrepreneur, people watching the show, Carmen, embrace those potholes, embrace those problems, embrace those challenges. I call them mini Harvard MBA events every time an entrepreneur has a problem. You know, when you go to Harvard and you go for your MBA, you have the professors and you have the students, and they do case studies, and the students get together and they answer the questions and they answer the entrepreneurial business stories. And those are done in a classroom. But entrepreneurs, you're not in that classroom. You're actually in the fight, in the real world, in a real entrepreneurial endeavor. And you're going to have potholes and challenges and problems. So embrace those problems, because remember, you're going to solve that problem. And once you do, you're not going to make that same mistake again. So it's almost a race to make as many mistakes as you can. If you look at it that way, then any of these problems that you have are easily overcome, because you just say to yourself, you know what? It's just a little mini Harvard MBA event. It's something I can get past. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to learn from this experience so that I don't have the same problem again. And remember, if you're not having these potholes, Carmen, if you're not having these walls that you have to traverse over, if you're not having these crooks in the road that are making life challenging in your entrepreneurial journey, then you're not pushing hard enough. So embrace it, love it, learn from it, and it will make you a great entrepreneur.
Ah, great wisdom. You guarantee results. That's an interesting thing for a strategist or consultant to do. So how do you ensure the client is doing what they need to do so that you can help them get the result that you've set out to do?
So that's a great question. So when I speak to people, I ask the right questions to know whether they're the types of entrepreneurs that really will become committed to doing what it takes to be great. And if I feel that they are, then it's all in. We can help them. We can guarantee a portion of the results. We can set up some benchmarks for them that make sense. And we put our money where our mouth is. So if a company wants to grow, and they want to grow on a massive scale with this 10x paradigm that we've already spoken about, Carmen, we ask the right questions to be able to know whether in our gut, in our mind, in our vibe, whether that company leader has what it takes to promote that massive growth. And if we feel that they do, and that we feel that they will take our consultation under advisement and put into play some of the things we talk about, we will guarantee a portion of their results. And that's all worked out with the entrepreneur. And the reason why we do that is we think it's super cool. We love it. I mean, if somebody came to me and said, Andy, or, so some people call me Jake, and they say, Jake, hey, we want to help your business, and we're going to guarantee the results. I'm all ears. I want to listen to it.
That's for sure.
So again, we've listened to our clients, and that's what we spoke about earlier. So, along the way, someone said to me, Jake, I like what you're telling me, but will you guarantee it? And during that conversation, I said, yeah, I'll guarantee it. I'll guarantee the results. I'll guarantee it. If you guarantee me that you're going to do what you need to do, I'll guarantee that what I'm telling you to do is going to be the right way for you to get to where you're going. And thank goodness it worked out. And it made me start thinking about, I'll just guarantee the results to everybody. And ask the right questions to determine whether they have what it takes to get to where they're going. And if they do, I'll just guarantee my results, because I feel that confident in what I can offer a client. And that's what we're talking about here, because in business, you want to offer your client, you want to offer your customers something that you can stand behind and something that you can guarantee. And in the consulting business, I was always wondering why these consultants don't guarantee their results. And the reason why is they're too afraid to. They're worried about it. Maybe they question themselves. Maybe they question their experience. Maybe they question the advice that they're giving. In my case, I feel very confident once I've asked the who, what, where, when, and why, how questions, whether I can help a client or not. And if I can't help a client, I just say, listen, this is above my pay grade. This is something I can't help you with. This is something that I know some people that would probably be better able to help you than me. Let me give you their name and number. I'll make a connection for the two of you. God bless, your relationship with them. And it was great to know you. And I hope that just the relationship of me being able to provide you someone that can help you will put you on the path to where you want to be with your business. And it's that type of approach that makes me feel good about what I do. It allows me the opportunity to pay forward all the success that I've had and be able to pay forward to entrepreneurs in a meaningful way, because I've had so much help along the way. I've had so many great mentors and so many great people who have helped me through my journey. I want to be able to pay that forward in any way that I can. So if I can't help a company specifically, I will help that company find someone who can help them. And of course, Carmen, as you know, we also have a wonderful platform called .com Magazine that also helps entrepreneurs as well. And it's been a great platform that I've been able to put together. And I'm able to interview entrepreneurs like you're able to do on your show. And it's so much fun to be able to interview great entrepreneurs, because every time I interview someone like you're interviewing me, I learned something so valuable for my business and for my life. It's remarkable. So again, thank you, Carmen, so much for having this wonderful podcast, this wonderful interview show. You brought so many high quality people on the show. I'm just really honored to be on it and very humbled by the fact that you've asked me to come on the show, because the amount of energy that you have on your show and the amount of expertise that you've had with the people that have come on the show really tells the world that you really care about entrepreneurism and giving people a reason to get up in the morning to be as powerful and as successful as they possibly can. And I wanted to thank you for that, because you're paying it forward in such a large way. It's so remarkable for me to even be on your show.
Thank you, Andy. That's a special comment. Thank you, coming from you, who knows what it takes to put shows like this together. And from my side too, thank you for being on the show. It's great for a host to interview a host, and and I love the way you think. So it's a privilege. These hours for me is intoxicating. It's an absolute privilege, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So thank you. You were saying something really interesting, because the guarantee results, there's something that you said that made me think about it, is you're as confident in your client's ability to be able to get the result as you are in your ability to get the result. So there's this win-win right from the outset, because you're also qualifying the client right from the outset. And you're asking all those really important questions, which then enables you to be able to, why not? I love it. I love the abundant thinking around the guaranteeing results.
Well, thank you, Carmen. And that's really important. And that's a great insight that you just had, because when I speak to an entrepreneur, I ask questions that let me into that entrepreneur's not only personality and psyche, but more importantly, the way they think about their success and failure. And that's real important to me. If I speak to an entrepreneur that doesn't accept their failures and doesn't accept the fact that they've had some failures along the way, if I talk to an entrepreneur, for example, where based on my questions, I get the feeling that they believe in their mind that they've never had a failure, they've never had a pothole in the road, and everything's been perfect 100% all the way along their entrepreneurial journey. Those are people typically that I won't guarantee my results to, and probably won't even end up working with, because of the fact that obviously I want clients that get results. And people that can't face the fact that they've had some challenges along the way and aren't honest enough to really say that they've had are people that typically aren't going to get that 10x growth that I really try and promote, because you have to be very realistic as an entrepreneur. And one of the realistic things you need to think about is the fact that, wow, first of all, this wasn't all me. I've surrounded myself with great people. I've been surrounded with talented advisors. I've had people that have encouraged me along the way. I've had mentors along the way. It's not all me. If I get the feeling from an entrepreneur that they're an all me type of a person, then typically I won't guarantee the results to that type of person. And also the type of person that believes that they've never had a pothole in the road, because those types of people, they're tough to work with because they think they're always right.
Yes.
And we're not always right. Nobody is. I don't care if you're, Bezos or, Elon Musk or Steve Jobs of blessed memory, or whoever you are, you know that you need help. You can't be everything to everybody and have the knowledge base necessary in all aspects of your business to be perfect. You need to bring advisors on. And again, those people that have more of a grounded view of their business and where they need the help and where they don't are the best types of people to work with as a consultant or an advisor. And those are the types of people that I love to work with, because I become part of their business. I become part of their partnership. I become a partner of theirs, trying to do the best that I can for them and their business, which then in turn leads for me doing the best for them and their families. And I always keep that in mind, because entrepreneurs always have families behind them. And those families are just so important that if I don't give my best to that entrepreneur for their business, that means I'm not giving the best to their family. And to be quite frank, I just couldn't look myself in the mirror and know that I didn't give the best for somebody else's family.
You have an amazing approach, Andy. It's what you're doing is you're setting up this fertile ground for growth all around, and it's a very special and privileged space to play in that. Let's look into the future. What would you say in this decade of disruption that we're in is, firstly, maybe the scariest disruption that you foresee? And then after that, what the most exciting disruption is that's perhaps around the corner?
That's a great question. Obviously, the cell phone ultimately will become a thing of the past. The way in which we engage and communicate will become much different in the future than it currently is. Obviously, there are great geniuses working on neural linking and neural links and neural link technology that will be able to bypass your phone. And I'm not saying that's going to be in the next few years, but certainly people are working on it now. How does your mind control things? And can something be embedded into your body to control things? So, for example, I use the example of the Apple Pay on the phone prior. Will there become a time when I will walk up to a kiosk and it will be able to read my eyes through some type of neural link technology, and it will be able to charge the appropriate amount for the coffee that I had by me just thinking about it? Now, I know that's very scary, and it is scary, but people are working on that type of technology now. So while it's very scary, the reason why it might not be as scary as people think is, think about if they do figure it out. Think about if they do figure out this neurotechnology, this neural link technology. Think about all the great things that could possibly happen from that technology. Besides the fact that people are trying to figure out how to make things faster, simpler, and easier for the customer, that technology possibly could be used for people who are paralyzed. That type of technology could be used to potentially help people walk again. That type of technology could perhaps help people be able to see again. That type of technology perhaps could help people be able to hear again. And so when we think about technology, a lot of times people get very, very scared and worried about the future, which obviously it makes sense to have some type of recognition that technology can be turned on its head in a bad way, but let's also look at the glass being half full, that technology can help improve so many lives in so many powerful ways that I would say in the future, many of the things today that we see that people have and ailments that they have and situations in their lives that are very challenging, for example, paralysis or not being able to move their arm or not being able to see or not being able to hear, not being able to even speak correctly, could potentially be solved through technology, through some of these new technologies that people are working on. And so that's sort of the double-edged coin. On one hand, technology can be scary for what's about to happen into the future, but at the same time, that technology can be used in such powerful, beautiful ways to empower so many people in a way that people won't even be able to believe another 30, 40, 50 years from now. Long after I'm gone, there's going to be so many people helped through these technological advancements that we can't even really fathom it today.
Yeah, and it's up to us. It's in our hands. We're creating these machines. So it's up to us, as Elon keeps, calling out. Let's be responsible. Let's think ahead of time. Let's think how we're programming these machines so that we can bring the human into the machine. So right now for you, Andy, what are the most relevant changes entrepreneurs can make to win in this time and going forward as well? So can you share in the form of a start and a stop in terms of those changes they can make right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for the entrepreneurs watching the show right now, the most important thing for you to think about is not your technology, not your technology platform, not the SaaS system that you have, not the sales system that you have, not your checkout. The first thing you need to think about so that you can provide to your customers what they really want is you need to look at your company's corporate culture. Look at your culture. Look at your employees. Everything starts from the top. If you don't have engaged employees, if you don't have employees that are happy, if you don't have a team that's really working on all cylinders, if you don't have a team that is passionate about helping their customers, if you don't have a team that has goals, if you don't have a team that is guided in a powerful way, that's the first place you want to start improving your business. Because if you don't have the team inside your company working on all cylinders, it's virtually impossible to help your customers in the powerful way necessary to get you to the 10x growth. So the first thing all entrepreneurs can do watching the show is look at your team. And your team might just be you. You might just be a solo entrepreneur. So if you're the only member of your team, look at yourself. Look at what you're doing. Look at your goal setting. Look at the way you approach things. Look at the way you think about your customers. If you do have a team and you do have a company with employees, entrepreneurs need to think about corporate culture. And remember, corporate culture starts at the top. CEOs don't think about it. Founders don't think about it. But even when they drive into their business, the way in which they park their car, did they park their car straight? Did they park too close to the car next to them? How are they walking in to the office? Are their shoulders up? Are they walking in straight, or are they slumped over, and are they in a bad mood? All those things really can change the dynamic of the corporate culture within your business. So think about what you're doing. Think about your team. Think about how you can empower your team. Think how you can make them better. Think how you can make your team think about the fact that what they need to do is provide for their customers, for your customers in a meaningful way. And if your team is not working on all cylinders and they're unhappy and they're not fulfilled and they're struggling and they're having inter-company challenges and problems on a continued basis, just think about then how that's transferring to their communication with your clients. It's not very good. So get your house in order, get your team in order, get your corporate culture right now.
And what should we stop doing?
So what we should stop doing is blaming. What we should stop doing is blaming others for not hitting our numbers, not hitting the mark, not having a great customer service experience, not having our revenue numbers accomplished, not growing, not having more organization, not having a better culture, not having this, not having that. Let's stop pointing fingers and let's all take more responsibility in our own lives and our own business as leaders and entrepreneurs to take responsibility for those things that aren't going right, so that then you can take the right action steps to make sure they're going right.
Great recommendations. Thank you, Andy. One final question to wrap up. What's the change you'd love to see in the world that you believe would make a game changer difference to humanity or for humanity?
That's a great question. And I, as someone that loves technology, what I would really love to see is more people, more technologists, more experts thinking about ways to make the world a better place through technology. The world can be filled with a lot of dark. And it's really up to people, Carmen, like you, and the people that I call the lamplighters who want to bring more light into the world. And from a technology standpoint, technology can be used to bring more light into the world. It can be used to bring more light into a dark space. So what I would hope is that the brilliant minds out there, the brilliant people, the people that really have their mind and their body and their spirit and their soul sort of on a different level. They're on a different plane. These people are blessed in a way that, I can't even fathom, because I can't even think the way that these people think. Let them think about the way in which technology can bring light into a dark world and fill it all up with light. Technology can help with this. It's not the answer, but it certainly is something that can help. So more connectivity, more positivity, less negativity. When we think about social, and we think about the young people today, and we think about all the harm that's happening to the young people through all this negativity that comes through the social networks, is there a way that we can do something to let those young people and those people that are being negatively impacted by the darkness to fill their life up with light? Can it be done through technology? Well, if it can, let's figure it out and let's get going, because there's a lot of work to do out here.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy, for lighting up our last hour with so much explosive insights, and it comes from being in the trenches and delivered with such amazing vigor and light, and just you've shone a light on so many game-changing insights that we can apply our minds to, and our audience can really apply this. And we thank you for just sharing so openly. And I know you do a lot of work as well, a lot of light work in a lot of the things that you do for others. Thank you for doing that in our world as well.
Carmen, it's been a delight being on the Game Changers. I mean, you're doing such great work. I've listened to some of your shows, and I just love the way in which you ask the questions, and it really is an educational experience for so many people to be able to watch your show. So many people now are tuning in, and it's just been an honor and a delight. And keep up the great work. You're doing an amazing job just bringing out so much important information for people to learn from, not only about their businesses, but about life as well. And like I said, you're a real lamplighter, lighting up the world with not only, your particular approach and your particular way, but bringing people on your show that hopefully have something to say that also will contribute to paying it forward, not only to entrepreneurs, but anybody else watching your show.
Oh, that's very special. Thank you, Andy. And once again, thank you for being here. And if you're still with us, thank you. We appreciate you. Take these insights to heart. They come from a beautiful place. And let's go and explode our growth and light up the world at the same time. And subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Like it if you've had value in this particular episode. And until next time, sending you oceans of love.